William.
Yeah.
Hey, so you know the coronavirus, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
Not how I
Okay.
expect you
So
to
you know
say.
how we're still living through that? That's still a thing, right? Right. Right.
Yeah.
Hey. So you know how this corona has pretty much redefined humanity and history, right? Has created a new age, right? All right. And
Yeah.
so you know how we use BC to define the prehistoric and modern age, right? How BC stands for before Christ, right, or before Crustacean periods, right? And how BC is
Uh-huh.
used as a defining moment in human history, right? Right. So
Yeah,
so I
sure.
think with the coronavirus, it has created a defining time in human history. I think BC now stands for BSC, before Snyder Cut and post Snyder Cut world.
Oh my god.
William.
Before Snyder and after Snyder.
Look, I
Wow.
don't think how impactful. I don't think you understand how impactful this is, right? We will soon live in a post Snyder Cut world, right? Currently, we are
Oh
living
my
in a pre
god.
Snyder Cut world, right? And
Uh-huh. Yeah.
society is
Alright.
definitely unhinged because because we don't have the Snyder Cut yet. But once the Snyder Cut comes out, society will change. All right.
Society will change. What we'll start living for the better, becoming the utopia that we're always
Yes.
meant to be because of the Snyder
Yes.
Cut.
The post Snyder Cut landscape will define human history. Okay.
Oh my god.
So we're not watching anything Warner Bros. So that's why I want to talk about the Snyder Cut real quick, just so I can put because I hate this movie we're gonna talk about. I don't want to talk about this. I'm trying to use as much time as we can to not talk about this movie.
Jesus,
Yeah,
dude.
but hey, that Snyder Cut coming out. So I have a lot of problems with the Snyder Cut that's coming out, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I feel like the Snyder Cut we're getting is we don't deserve the Snyder Cut, right?
We
So you know how
But
the whole Snyder Cut movement started, right? Because there existed a version of Justice League where Zack Snyder originally intended, right? And so fans got up in arms about that, hey, telling Warner Bros. To release the Snyder Cut, right? Right. And so, hey, Warner Bros. Release the Snyder, give us the cut we want, we deserve. That should be the director intended, right? And Warner was like, no, fuck you guys. We're not giving you the Snyder Cut. You guys fucking suck. You guys didn't go watch Justice League 5 times in the movie theaters like you promised you would, right? Right.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
with
Alright.
them announcing that they're releasing the Snyder Cut, I feel like that the reason is that because the fans demanded it was because they're exploiting the fans for it, right? Because you know how the Snyder Cut is released on HBO Max, wherever the fuck that service is, because nobody knows what the fuck HBO Max is, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
Sure.
because even after the Snyder Cut, nobody's gonna know what the fuck HBO Max is, right? So I feel like the Snyder Cut that they're releasing isn't the Snyder Cut that the fans were wanting. It's the thing that they're releasing just so they could get the fans to fucking sign up for HBO Max or whatever the fuck that service is, right? You follow my train of thoughts?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like this is not the Snyder Cut we deserve. This is the Snyder Cut that they're giving us to tell us to shut up, to stop asking about the Snyder Cut, even though this isn't going to be
So-
the Snyder Cut we want, right?
Okay. So not. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Sure.
Yeah.
Perfect logic.
Yeah, perfect logic there about the Snyder Cut, right? Due to capitalism, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is capitalism, right?
Yeah. Capitalism.
Always trace itself back to capitalism. Have you finished eating
my
your
God.
food yet? Let me know what you.
No, I have not.
Fuck.
I have not finished eating my
fuck,
food.
how much food do you have left? How much I need to keep going on about the cider?
It's a big steak.
Oh,
okay?
why
It's a
are you
big
eating steak at this point when we're supposed to be talking about a movie?
Well, I wanted to eat steak, but they were late with the order, and so now it came when it was like
Oh.
at 4. But it's a big steak, so you know it's a lot.
So I have to
get
keep going
through.
on about the Snyder Cut. Is what you're saying?
Look, man, my cutting of the steak is the Snyder Cut. All right.
Your cut. Your steak cut is the Snyder Cut.
My steak cut is the Snyder
Okay,
cut. It's a pretty okay steak.
Oh, it's pretty okay steak. Is it even a good steak?
It's Outback Steakhouse. I don't let that sink in. all right?
Okay. Did you get from Outback Steakhouse Max?
Outback Steakhouse Max.
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
man, it's Outback Steakhouse Go.
Oh,
Okay, come on.
Wait, how many service does fucking is there for HBO? Jesus Christ! Speaking of, there's HBO, right? There's HBO Go, and now there's HBO Max, right? Is that what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I know there's Go, there's HBO Max. I know there's a regular HBO channel.
Yeah.
I think that might be
Oh,
it.
okay. God, there's so many HBO.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I didn't stick with just the one
Yeah.
HBO. But hey.
Okay, but yeah, hey, so yeah, so that's my thoughts about the Snyder Cut.
Yo, well, thank
Yeah.
goodness.
Oh yeah. So
Because
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, welcome to the Replica
Yeah. So
SPOILERCAST,
yeah.
by the
Well,
way.
welcome to the spoiler cast that's recorded pre-Snyder Cut. Pre-Snyder Cut.
And don't worry, post Snyder Cut, this will all be a bad
Yeah.
joke.
Post Snyder Cut. This movie will probably be better, but it probably won't be.
It probably will, but it probably
Yeah.
won't. Which is it, Austin? Come on.
We'll find out. So pre-Snyder Cut, it's a pre-Snyder Cut world is a bad movie. Post-Snyder Cut world, it's up for debate.
Okay, sure. All
Yeah,
right.
that's how rolling is to me.
What a fucking twist.
Yeah. So I have a lot to say about this movie.
Uh-huh.
All right, here, which I'll say after you read the Wikipedia page, like you always do.
Yes, of course. So, as always, I shall be reading the wiki synopsis that is provided to us on the I just said it on the Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So, let me take this big sip.
Oh wait, also hold on before we read. I want to say something. This movie freaked me the fuck out, right? Then not because of what happens in the movie, but because who's in the movie, right? So,
because of who's in the movie?
There's an actor
Really?
that appears in this movie that's gonna appear in another movie we're gonna watch later this week. And I wasn't expecting this actor to be in this movie. It was just he appears in his movie just in the movie. But he also appears in another movie we're gonna discuss about later. But I watched that other movie first before I watched Replicas.
Uh-huh.
So when I saw that actor in this movie, I was so freaked. I was like, well, what the fuck? Why is this actor also in this movie? It was just a weird coincidence that we're watching this actor appear in two movies we're going to talk about later this week. It was really surreal.
Mm-hmm.
It just came out of nowhere. Like it wasn't somewhat an actor I was expecting, because this actor isn't that big, right? Like Keanu Reeves international level. Like he's just like a regular actor, dude. But he appears in this movie, and he's gonna appear in another movie we're gonna watch later this week. So when I saw this actor, I was so freaked out. I was like, oh, what the fuck? I was like, why is this actor in this movie? Okay. Yeah, it was really surreal. Right. We'll talk about that actor and that movie when we discuss about that movie later this week.
All right. I'm about to take some guesses.
All right.
But not
now. I'll let you know now. It's not Keanu Reeves, all right?
Okay, yeah, I figured after you saying he's not as big as Keanu Reeves. I don't know what that would mean if you're like, this actor's not as big as Keanu Reeves, but it's Keanu Reeves. I don't know where that would have went. But anyway. All
right. We wasted enough time.
Okay.
We can talk about this movie now.
I mean, you wanted to waste time.
Okay,
anyway,
well, you wanted to eat your steak, so I was trying to let you have.
I know. But it's like you have me participate and eat at the same time. It's not possible, Austin. It's not possible to eat my steak and talk at the same time.
Just eat your steak while you're eating. It's not that hard.
Okay, fine. Anyway, so
hey, did you finish your steak yet?
William Foster and Ed Whittle are biomedical research scientists working for Bio9 Corporation in Puerto Rico, attempting to transfer the mind of a dead soldier into an android with superhuman strength, codenamed Subject 345. Foster specializes in synthetic biology and mapping of the mind's neural pathways, while Whittle's specialty is reproductive human cloning. Foster successfully captures the soldier's neural map and transfers it into the android's synthetic brain, but the experiment fails when the soldier recoils in horror at the android body and destroys it, killing himself again. Foster's boss, Jones, warns him that if he cannot get Subject 345 to work, the company's shareholders will shut the project down. Foster takes his wife Mona and 3 children, Sophie, Matt, and Zoe, on a boating trip, but on the way, all but William are killed in a car crash. Determined to resurrect his family, he coaxes Ed to bring him the Bio9 equipment necessary to extract his family's neural maps and to clone replacement bodies for them. He successfully extracts their neural maps and tells Whittle to dispose of the bodies, but the first major obstacle to his plan presents itself. Only 3 cloning pods are available, forcing him to choose one to sacrifice. He chooses Zoe, the youngest, and erases her memory from the neural maps of the other 3. Whittle starts the 17-day cycle required to create mature replacement clones for Foster's family, and tells him he has only that long to solve the problem of integrating the neural maps into the cloned bodies, or else they will start to deteriorate by aging at an abnormally fast rate. Integrating the mind into a biological clone was phase 2 of the research project, to be solved after the android transfer. Foster is forced to keep this secret since he and Whittle have stolen millions of dollars of Bio-9 equipment and are breaking bioethics.
Yeah, a lot of
He spends the 17 days removing evidence of Zoe's existence from his home and creating cover stories of illness to explain his family's absence from work, school, and social media contact.
I'm so glad we get to see Keanu Reeves be a teenage girl in this movie.
God, that was so out of place for that movie. I will say real quick. But God, it was like it had a weird comedic tone to it, but then it just happens like, why is this in this movie? Anyway, let's not get derailed.
We'll get derailed.
Yeah, we will get derailed. When Foster notices his wife's central nervous system reacting to his touch, he realizes that Subject 345 failed because the mind expects her connection to a biological body with heartbeat and respiration rather than a synthetic one. He knows he knows now that transfer into the clones will not be a problem, and the failure of android transfer can be solved by programming a simulated mind-body interface to make the android body appear biological.
Sure.
Sure. He successfully transfers the minds of his loved ones into the clone bodies, then goes back to work creating a synthetic mind-body interface when the next dead body he receives has suffered too much brain damage to be viable. Foster resorts to recording his own mind for the android transfer. Meanwhile, Sophie has a nightmare of her mother's death, and Mona catches Foster erasing her memory of the event. He confesses that they died in a car crash and that he resurrected them. The family soon discovers evidence of Zoe's existence that he missed, and he admits that he couldn't save Zoe and erase their memories of her. Jones confronts Foster and reveals that he is aware of what Foster and Whittle have done. He tells him the research is not actually intended for medical purposes, but is being financed by the U.S. government to provide a military weapon, and that Foster's family are loose ends to be eliminated. Foster destroys the mind-body interface, incapacitates Jones, and flees, attempting to escape by boat. Jones's henchmen capture Foster's family. He pursues them to Bio-9, where it is clear that Whittle has sold them out. Jones kills Whittle and forces Foster to finish Subject 345. Foster uploads his own mind into Subject 345, who kills the henchman and mortally wounds Jones. The two Fosters make a deal with Jones. He can live in a clone body and become rich by working with Foster 345, selling clone transfers to wealthy people looking for a second life. Meanwhile, Foster is able to retire in peace with his family, including the newly cloned Zoe. And that's the whole bunch of bullshit.
Okay, William, this movie had 5 different plot that I thought it was gonna do, but it ended up choosing the worst plot line.
It was so stupid because it had such an interesting premise too.
Yeah, look, I thought this was gonna have I thought this movie at 5 different points was gonna have 5 different plot lines, but they ended up choosing the worst one that I hated the most. Right? So the first plot line was about the robot. I was like, all right, cool. All right, so originally I thought this plot was gonna be about how Keanu Reeves was gonna upload his mind into the robot or some shit. I was like, which does happen, right? Right?
Yeah.
Right? There was gonna be 2 Keanu Reeves and they fight for control, right? That did not ended up being the plot, and I was really mad.
Yeah.
I thought that this movie was gonna be Keanu Reeves dying and uploading his body into the robot, and so then he has to live as a robot, which would have been cool, but that never ended up being the plot, right? So I thought this originally when they just introduced the robot thing, I thought this was just gonna be like a pure robot movie with no fucking clone bullshit. So I was like, all right. So when his family died, I was like, all right, cool. All right, maybe I thought that at that point from this movie, he's gonna love his family into the robot mind, right?
Uh-huh.
And he has to live with his robot family, but they hate him because they're robots, and so it becomes a him versus robot movie where he has to kill his robot family. But no, that does not happen, and I was really mad. So when he introduced the clone of his family, right? I thought that this movie was gonna be like, all right, cool. Now he has to live with the clone of his family, and then the family resents him for it, and so the clones tries to kill him, and so because he has to kill his family, his clone family, right? But that never ended up happening. It ended up just doing this whole fucking bullshit movie. I was like, oh, this movie's fucking pointless. I was so fucking mad about this. This movie could have had literally every plot element, every plot scenario I described would have been way more interesting than the actual plot of this movie.
Yeah, I know. But it's like the thing is, it's like you have this storyline where basically William Foster is essentially like, oh, his family died. He's trying to resurrect them, right? And so that in and of itself, the journey to get there is like it's just a whole bunch of like ethical and spiritual exploration that could be done with that. Mm-hmm. Especially when the wife earlier says, yeah, well, maybe the reason, the thing is, this is earlier in the movie where she's talking to her, William is talking to his wife Mona, and so she's saying like, oh, well, maybe it doesn't work because it's like this is an android, and what you're transferring is just memories, when it might be necessary to those memories need to have a soul or something to kind of like, make it work. And it's like that's an interesting point. And so I thought because of that, and when the family dies, and when he brings them back up and it blows them into the android, maybe he has to be confronted with the fact that maybe there is more to life than just the memories that make up a person. Maybe there is in fact something about there being a soul, right? And then him having to come to terms with that, and with what he's done to it, what he's essentially just done is just upload memories, and they don't make up a person.
Yeah.
Or the fact that maybe they do, and that could have been an interesting thing that they could have explored, but they don't do that.
No,
right?
They don't do any of that.
Yeah, and so they're cloned, right? And so then they're like, oh, maybe they had to come to terms with the fact that they've been giving a second chance at life, but but then again the soul thing comes up, because this is the thing, because it was like they gave that scene such an importance. I felt like this is gonna be like, even if you do take the memories of a person and put them into an exact same body, what if it's not the same soul?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we had this discussion earlier when we watched Gemini Man or some shit. I'm pretty sure we had.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same thing, but then it's like, no, they're exactly the same. But then there's also the interesting fact that he kind of like, because he couldn't he only had 3 cloning pods, he had to get rid of 1, and the fact that you can just erase memories is also another thing that you can have explored. But then it's just like...
also, there was another plot element I had in my mind. So another story plot, I forgot about, this was another plot storyline, that in the end, we found out Keanu Reeves was actually a clone the entire time, and that he's already been dead. That was another plot element I had in my mind, that would have been way for a better plot story. I forgot about that. That was also in my head at one point.
Yeah, it's just it's so weird.
They introduce all these good concepts, but they don't do anything with these concepts. They just do really bad story concepts. Like, oh, okay, I don't give a... That's pointless.
No, because that's the thing. He's like, oh, here's an interesting concept, but we're not doing it. Here's another one, but we're not doing it. Here's this one, but we're not doing it. Instead, we're gonna go to this fucking plotline right here.
That happens. That's fucking stupid, and that's not interesting whatsoever, right? Because I thought this was gonna be like some type of psychological thriller movie where you have to live with the repercussion of you doing this fucking definitely illegal, 100% illegal fucking thing you're doing that probably breaks all sorts of fucking laws of nature and life, right? But you're just okay with it. It's like, yeah, I'm okay with it. It's the same thing. My wife is still Alice Eve. All right, I still hit that every night, so it's fine.
God damn. But yeah, that's what's so annoying. Because it's like. The thing is, it's like you're introducing all these concepts, and you kind of have moments where Keanu Reeves is kind of like, he kind of reacts to what he's doing, like the fact, like I really like of all the things that I do like is the fact that he has to live with the fact that he's erasing Zoe from everyone else's memories, and he's the only one who has to live with that, and that's fantastic. But they don't. And we get to see the reaction, but that doesn't go anywhere in the story sense at all, Because it happens, but then you go into this whole into the final third of the movie where it feels like the story is actually finally happening right now, right? Where it's just like Jones is there. He's like, oh yeah, you know what? This thing that you're doing, we knew this was gonna happen. We let this happen.
We were the one that killed your family.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
we were the one that caused the storm.
Sure, maybe they were the ones who pushed down the fucking tree. God, you know what? That was unnecessarily brutal. Now I think I'm just off on a tangent, but like when they're driving, it's a very rainy night.
It's like
right?
Jurassic Park.
And so they're driving.
It reminds me of Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and it's this thing with I don't know if it's just a Puerto Rico thing, because I know it happens in other countries too.
Rain? Wait, do you think rain? Do you think other countries don't get rain? You think only Puerto Rico?
No, that's not what I meant.
You think only Puerto Rico get rain? You think it only rains in Puerto Rico?
No one else gets rain except Puerto Rico. Okay.
Yeah, the concept of rain doesn't exist outside of Puerto Rico.
It's like, oh yeah, if you ever see rain falling outside your window, don't worry, we just took that from Puerto Rico and put it over there for us. That's how it worked. We cloned the rain to take the rain over somewhere else.
Jesus Christ. Fuck.
Anyway, the thing is, it's like a single road, okay? Yeah. Back on topic for a sec. It's a single road.
Yeah.
And so there's no bisecting lane. And so it's like you see this truck, and it's like it looks like they're almost gonna get run over, but then they turn around, right, and they dodge, and it's like okay, I think we should just stop, or something like that. But of course he keeps driving, and then the tree falls down, and then when the tree falls down, a piece of the branch ends up stabbing the wife in her gut.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then Keanu, it was so brutal, and they're panicking, right? It's like they're like, "Mom, mom," and he's just trying to get see if she was still alive, but he's not paying attention. And then there's a curve in the road, and so he hits the curve.
Yeah.
He goes through the guardrail and goes they all go down to the lake, and then the car is situated in a way that only it's like he doesn't drown, but his kids drown, right? Because they're all knocked out. And it's fucking brutal as shit, It's like, it's not as brutal, but it's almost as brutal as the one in Jurassic World when you see the woman getting eaten by the pterodactyl, where then she then falls down into the fucking
the megalodon,
into the water.
Was it? No, it's not megalodon.
I think it was the megalodon.
Yeah,
it was
whatever made up dinosaur they made for that movie.
Yeah, I think it was the megalodon. And she falls into the megalodon.
Just like the second movie where they made up that other dinosaur, the fucking Indorex, whatever the fuck it was called.
Yeah, and it's like so brutal. I'm like, what is this?
No, I was like, oh wow. I was like, when they fucking just killed off the wife of the kids, I was like, wow, that's pretty fucked up. Wow, man, this movie is taking a really dark turn all of a sudden. So when that event happened, I consider that to be the turning point of the movie, right? I was like, all right, cool. This is the turning point. This is where the movie actually starts now. Because now we have to live. We now have having a major event that impacts the rest of the movie, and then everything after that is fucking pointless. I was like, oh, okay, never mind. I was lied to, right? Like because you showed us this really dark. This is a really big moment. This is a big moment of the film. It's like the biggest moment of the film, right? Where it shows so now you have to live with this moment, and like, nah, fuck that. We don't care. It doesn't matter. I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like. It's this big thing, and you feel like the movie. This is where the movie starts, right? Like we have all this build up, and then this is where it starts. This is where the starts progressing, right? But it doesn't feel like that, especially with the fact that if anybody ever considers watching this movie, just understand that this is slow as shit until the last third of the movie. It is slow as fuck.
I didn't even realize I was done with the movie until I got to the end. Until I re-looked at the time, I was like, oh wait, I'm almost done with this movie. Oh Jesus Christ! Yeah, like nothing happens in this movie.
Yeah, it's like the only time I ever really got interested in is like the whole just to be fair, the whole science thing, when he's figuring out, oh, this is why it didn't work before. That was kind of exciting, right? Because it's like him figuring out why his projects didn't work, and then he's figuring out the problem, and then this is like, oh yeah, this will lead into him resurrecting his family, and then we'll have interesting stuff happen, right? But then it's like. It's just mostly it's so slow, and it's just mostly about him trying to figure out what he has to do, and it's just what I had to get rid of one family member. I have to have everyone else live with that fact. I have to erase their memories, and then that kind of thing, and then he has to figure out how to do a memory transfer and how to get this to work, and then he figures out how it works, and then it works, and then it happens, and then he kind of also has to deal with that too. But the thing is. That's all of that is so drawn out. It is so fucking drawn out because it's this is an hour 40. This is an hour 40 movie, right? And it feels like this happens for the whole hour, and it felt like it should have just actually happened in the first 30 minutes. Then we could have explored the big repercussions of that, right?
Yeah.
And then it's and then once it happens that one, and then we reach the hour mark. Then it's then he's finally then everyone else is kind of figuring out, oh. Something's wrong. Someone is missing. I feel like it's they remember that they died, and they're like, what is this? This is a memory, a dream. It's so real to them, and then and then he has to kind of deal with that, and then they find out, oh yeah, our memories have been fucked with, and then it's oh god, we died.
Yeah. There's all these interesting concepts that they present, but they don't do anything, which really tilted me.
Yeah, and this happens at the hour mark.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. And then once everyone's kind of figuring this stuff out and they start getting pissed at him, then the movie is derails into the actual plot that they wanted to do, which is, oh, I am Jones. My name isn't even Jones. I work for the government. We wanted to use your project to be able to put clone the mind of the best pilot and then put them in a million Jones, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Here's a new plot line we're introducing at the last minute. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's why? We were actually getting to something interesting, even though it's something just like, oh God, he's gonna experience consequences for his actions here, and then he doesn't experience them. You just fucking derail it.
This movie has said that it's okay for you to kill your family and then clone them. All right.
Jesus.
Wait, that's like, do you think this society is living in a post-Snyder Cut world where this is okay?
Jesus Christ. Only in a post-Snyder Cut world would this be okay. Austin.
Yeah. If this was
Come on.
if this was to happen now, this would not be okay. But once the Snyder Cut comes out, this will be okay to do. It will be okay to clone your family after they die. But now, current climax, no. But once the Snyder Cut comes out, it will be okay.
Only when the Snyder Cut comes out will life go on as it was meant to be. But that's what's so frustrating, because it's like, it took us like, first of all, like, honestly, that should have just taken 30 minutes of him just resurrecting his family, figuring this stuff out, and then, his family living. And then, like, for the rest of the hour should have been, like, him, like, experiencing the consequence of his actions and, exploring the whole concept of immortality and the human soul and stuff. And, like, are we truly just made up of our memories, or is there something more, right? And that should have been the rest of the hour movie.
Yeah, that should have just been the entire movie. We didn't have to have this whole fucking last act with the boss and everything.
Yeah, and it's just like the boss is like, oh yeah, we want this, we want the secrets, give us the algorithm, tell it, like, give it to us, and we'll spare you. And of course he's gonna kill them anyway. And so then you have this whole, like, then it's just like this whole then it just becomes kind of like this odd action movie that happens later on, and it's just so out of place. It's just like, because what the movie promises you is like something that would, like, kind of like explore the concept of mortality and stuff,
like
right?
a sci-fi thriller, like any cyberpunk-esque as settings world will deliver on this. We'll introduce this type of concept and premise. But then in the last act they were like, no, we got a new plot line. It's better. It's just as good as Guntica.
God, it's just like so annoying, because it's like it should have been like something more like similar to fucking Ex Machina, and fuck you for Guntica, by the way. But it's like you had this whole thing of, like, it feels like it should have been like something similar to Ex Machina. But then it's just like, it just switched gears and just becomes this whole different action movie. Like, why is there action in this? It's like it took us so long to actually get to the part where he should be facing repercussions for what he's done. But then it's like okay, now we're going to a different kind of movie, and then you had this whole action thing, and it's just like he doesn't really get into any trouble over what he's done. So it just feels like the happy ending that he's got is like
he never has
he doesn't deserve it.
No repercussion for any of this. It's just so fucking
it's just so odd. It's just like, why any of this?
So here's another fucking thing that also got me. So he deleted the family's memory of the daughter, right? So when he brought back the daughter, did he still have a backup of their original memory, right?
I don't know.
That's very fucking weird. Like, because he brought back his daughter, so also it's clear that he deleted their memory from their neutron network, where the fuck this fucking science bullshit plot devices, right? But here's something. But since he deleted those, like, and the fact, and his rewrite does not have anymore. So did he have to reintroduce them to the family again, or did he have to back up? But the fact that he had a backup obviously meant that he had a backup pre-death. So when he backed up their memory again, did he have to? Oh yeah, by the way, you guys died again. I brought you back for the third time now. Technically, this is technically your third rebirth.
Yeah, it's just like, what is any of this movie? Because it's like,
this movie was really bad. I did not like I did not like this movie whatsoever.
Yeah, because it's like, it has slow pacing, and the thing is, not to say anything bad against.
Slow pacing is good, right? When you do it correct.
It can be very good, especially if you do it right.
It's really good if you do it in a thriller, and especially in this type of concept where they introduce the whole idea of cloning, where you have to live with that. Like that would have been fine in a slow pace where you gradually have to build up the repercussions. But no, they don't do that. They don't do anything. They made this movie an action thriller at the last minute, where he has to fight, where Keanu Reeves and Robot Reeves have to fight his boss.
Yeah, I know, and it's really annoying. And it's like, the thing is like, they should have just abandoned that and just kept going on with what they were doing, with like him coming, like, with the family figuring out what has happened to them, and then confronting Keanu Reeves over it.
Yeah.
If anything, like, the thing is, like they took so long to get to that point, and once they got to that point, that's when the movie starts getting interesting to me. But then they immediately throw that out, like 5 minutes later, with Jones coming back and saying, "Oh yeah, we are just we're the government.
Yeah.
Give us your life's work." And then it just becomes him trying to save his family, and it's just like this whole random other bullshit just kind of happens. It's like if anything, they should have stuck the whole him figuring his background, his family's death, him cloning them back and putting them into the body. Should have been 30 minutes. And then, maybe like 10 minutes after, then it's like 10 minutes you have them figuring out like there's something weird that's going on they can't tell, and it's like the whole dreams and stuff. For like maybe have that for the next 30 minutes. And then you have Keanu Reeves trying to like saying, "Oh no, don't worry about it. Oh no, this didn't happen." And then then at the hour mark they figure it out. Then then for the rest of the movie he has to face the consequences for that, and then he has to also everyone else also kind of has to learn about the whole like is it just memories that make us up? Is there in fact the human soul? And then what are the repercussions of just having to die and live again?
Yeah.
Like, and just like being like, it's like everything's fine. It's like, but what about that? Right? It's like there's so many questions that this sets up, but it answers none of them. It answers none of them at all. You just look at it and it's like it's almost there, but then they just it becomes a different movie. And it's so frustrating.
It really is frustrating. I was so annoyed with this movie. Like everything, like it was really interesting. But then they're like, nah, it doesn't matter. I was like, oh, okay, now I'm sad.
Yeah, it's like you promised us, you promised, you told us these questions, and it looks like you were on the verge of answering them. But then it's like you dodge the answer and start telling us a different story instead because you don't want to answer the questions. And it's just like, come on, dude. At least just give us something to think about, And it's just like, but then you did give us none of that.
Yeah.
And it's just like annoying. I'm just like, why? This movie is just bad.
Yeah, this movie really is bad.
It's a shame too because it's actually very interesting in the beginning.
Like even though presents itself with like the whole concept of cloning and like living with that is a good concept and having to live because of it, right? And the repercussions and like everything we've been saying before. That's a good concept, but they just don't deliver it. It's what tilts me.
Yeah, and it's just like it's like. You had two. It's like you had like this whole one other movie. Then it's like you take like the ending from another movie and slap down onto this one. And it's just very odd. It's like you have two different clashes here, like of genres. I was like, this doesn't belong. Why is this here?
Yeah,
but, it's just frustrating.
That's really frustrating.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like. It's not worth the watch, especially considering the fact that they don't do anything.
So here's the thing: I didn't see any because I remember the trailer for this movie. I remember being mentioned because it had Keanu Reeves. I was like, and this was during the whole Keanu Reeves. Well, then again, we were still in the whole Keanu Reeves, the Keanu sauce, wherever the fuck era we're calling this.
Keanu.
Yeah.
Oh,
whoa, be careful. You're saying a lot of K's in a row there, William.
Okay. Look, it's not like I was doing it on purpose like that. Okay?
Be careful. Okay. So I remember this movie being mentioned. I remember watching the trailer, and after that, I never read up anything about it. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll probably watch it at some point because that's Keanu Reeves, and it has robots. And also the worst thing, if I remember correctly, with the trailer for this movie. Because I haven't seen the trailer, and this movie came out like 3 years ago or some shit, and people forgot about it and everything. I was like, I remember it had something with robots. Oh, okay, cool. Cool. It's a movie where Keanu Reeves has to fight a robot copy of himself. That's what fucking fucking me remembering this movie now.
Yeah, and that would have also been interesting too, if like the fact that if he replicated himself into the robot.
Yeah.
What if the robot didn't want his own family? That kind of. It could have been a Frankenstein-esque type of thing too.
Like the robot realized that Keanu Reeves is unfit to be the father, and that the robot, because he's a robot, he's fit to be a better father, and so he has to get rid of Keanu Reeves or some shit, right?
Yeah, or it could have been something like this is like he didn't accept the fact that he wasn't flesh and blood Keanu Reeves. Like, I'm the real Keanu Reeves. You're not the real Keanu Reeves, and that could have been a thing too. And the fact that they're just like. They're thinking they're the exact same person, but so they're trying to he's trying to go back to where he's supposed to be with his family, and then just, like, that's his whole thing
like this
too.
movie introduced a lot of concept, but the problem it's fucking everywhere in this movie is what tilted me. They don't stick to any concept that they tried to introduce. Like, cause like I said, because when I was going back to where I was saying how I thought there was like 5 different plot holes in this plot lines in this movie, right? That was the problem.
Yeah.
They introduced all these fucking concepts. Like at first I thought with the robot, I was like, all right, cool. This is a robot movie. I was like, all right, it's like Age of Ultron's, whatever the fuck. I was like, all right, fine. I can dig. I'm fine with robot movies. But then I was like, okay, no, his family died. I was like, oh, okay, well, fuck. Are his family gonna become robots or something? They're like, no, they're. I was like, oh, fuck. What the fuck's this movie? It doesn't know where. It does like this movie doesn't know what it wants to be. It's what tilted me.
Mm-hmm. It's just a wasted potential.
It's everywhere.
Especially.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna give it a rating, I would say 4.
3. And look, if post Snyder Cut, I would give this movie a 5. Pre Snyder Cut, 3.
pre it's a 4. Post is a 5.
Once Snyder Cut comes out and we rewatch this movie, it makes sense, all right?
Once Snyder Cut comes out, we'll watch it and then we'll be like, oh god,
once the Snyder Cut, we will rewatch every movie we ever watch and then we'll give it a new rating. Because the Snyder Cut will define the division of every movie. It will change our way of thinking.
Jesus, dude, that's a lot of movies.
Yeah, well, we're not, yeah. Well, I can't wait to rewatch every movie we ever rewatch again.
Oh my, no, okay, because you know what? I just realized we're gonna have to rewatch Angels Fallen. Do not put me through that again. Do not put me through that again.
Don't you want to rethink what Angels Fallen's meaning is once the Snyder Cut comes out?
No, we're not doing it.
Remember, in Batman v Superman, it wasn't a spear that Batman built. It was a lance because, like Jesus, he was stabbed with a lance.
Oh my God! Stop.
I still remember the day I told you that, and you got so mad at that when I first told you that.
I'm so annoyed.
All right, that's it for this movie. We wasted enough time on this movie. All right, coronavirus is still a thing. Wash your hands. Okay, thanks. Bye.